Stay right here. There's more places of worship to explore. When we come back, see how a New Orleans synagogue not only carries on Jewish traditions, but also has a vibrant foothold in Louisiana customs as well. You're watching Lost Louisiana, Places of Worship on Louisiana Public Broadcasting. Welcome back to Lost Louisiana, Places of Worship. I'm your host, Charlie Winham. Next, we travel to a New Orleans synagogue that honors the memory of philanthropist and community leader Joseph Touro. The Touro Synagogue bears the same name of the oldest synagogue in America, built in Newport, Rhode Island. And since 1828, the Jewish traditions have been carried out, but with the distinct style that is all New Orleans. The Touro Synagogue in New Orleans is as much a part of the city's fabric as the streetcars that pass by the St. Charles Street Sanctuary. And arguably, the person to give tours here is Adrienne Gernsbacher-Janae. Adrienne is one of the most qualified and passionate for the job. When you include her 5 grandchildren, Adrienne's family dates back 7 generations to this congregation and to this city.
I do tours as often as possible. I love to do them. I love to have people visit us because I think it's a beautiful building. And I also like to teach people what the Jewish people are about.
Adrienne, how old is this synagogue?
The building was built in 1909. However, parts of it go back to 1847.
Really?
Almost every congregation has an eternal light, a ner tamid. It reminds you that God is always present. Also, right above that, you'll see a copy, a replica of the 10 Commandments. Now remember, in Hebrew, it's read right to left. So the first commandment is the upper right. The 10th is the lower left.
Each synagogue also has an ark. It is symbolic of the Ark of the Covenant that carried the 10 Commandments.
And our Torahs are housed in this ark, which was given by Judah Touro to the congregation on Canal Street.
Beautiful.
In 1847. So we use it for basically every service.
And one or more Torahs are stored inside the ark.
Each Torah is exactly the same, the first 5 books of the Bible, and there's a section read at each Sabbath service and other holidays also. Most Torahs have a breastplate, which is reminiscent of the breastplates that the priests in the temple in Jerusalem, the first temple, wore. Also, you'll see 2 crowns. Now, the Torah is called the crown of the Jewish people, and in a symbolic way, we put crowns on these Torahs.
This ark is over 160 years old and is made from the cedars of Lebanon. It offers a reminder of the merging of the German-based Gates of Mercy congregation and the second congregation dispersed of Judah, made up of Portuguese descendants. The ark is also a reminder of the man who donated it, New Orleans philanthropist Judah Touro.
In 1802, the year before the Louisiana Purchase, Judah came to New Orleans to make his fortune. Now, at that time, New Orleans and the Louisiana Territory was under the control of the French and governed by something called the Code Noir, the Black Code. And one of the first lines in the Black Code is, "There shall be no Jews in the colony." But there were. There were Jewish people here. They didn't count, they weren't official, but they were allowed to come in for a certain length of time to do business and then leave.
Touro became one of the richest men in the world. He was a cotton broker, shipping magnate, and real estate broker. One of his prime holdings was along Canal Street between Bourbon and Royal, called the Touro Block.
He didn't seem to have that much feeling in his life, but in his death, he donated designated money to every Jewish organization in the country, every congregation in the country, and a lot of international Jewish organizations that were existing at the time of his death.
Over 150 years after Judah Touro's death, the current-day Touro Synagogue is a vital and progressive center of Jewish life.
You would think that a 185-year-old congregation would be, mostly about its historical grandeur and its established ways, but this congregation is unusually forward-thinking, I think, and unfettered by, unshackled by its history, but reverent about it and proud, but not dusty. I think the thing that makes congregations so vibrant here is the real priority of community.
Touro Synagogue also has an undeniable foothold in New Orleans culture. Every year leading into Jazz Fest, Touro Synagogue hosts a Jazz Fest Shabbat. The Friday evening service has included New Orleans musical greats like Kermit Ruffin, Ellis Marsalis, Jeremy Davenport, and Marcia Ball. In a recently created tradition, performers are presented a jazzy jacket of many colors, created by congregation member Mia McGuire, as a token of appreciation.
And within the time of the service, there is a break from the regular ritual and worship for a 10-minute or so performance by our special guest. And it's as fun as it can be. It's just a hoot.
Why is that so important?
This is New Orleans, darling. We gotta play the game, and it works.
Those are just some of the reasons Touro Synagogue is so special to Adrian. Katrina took her family's house in 2005, but no one will ever take away her worship home.
This is my place. This is my place. This city is my city. I can't imagine not being here. Here meaning New Orleans, here meaning Touro Synagogue. And I hope I've imparted that to my children, because both of my children live here, and my 5 grandchildren are religious school students here. So I hope that this will become an 8th, a 9th, a 10th generation at Touro and in New Orleans. It's very important to me. I have a great sense of history here.
Southern Jewish historian Eli Evans points out that over 1 million Jews live in the South, and many Jewish communities are thriving in Louisiana towns, including Natchitoches, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, Shreveport, and Monroe.